enjoy this series.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. Championship Sunday is here for the Japan League. The winner of this one, of course, goes straight to Phase 2 at the Copenhagen Major. Should preface once again, and maybe one last time, both teams have already qualified. They are both going to Copenhagen. It's just a matter of who gets to skip Phase 1, who gets to be the best from this region, who gets to be the top dogs.
Into the ban phase then, Ying Nook taken off the board first. Looks a little bit more of an intriguing ban on a map like Oregon, simply because it can be a little bit trickier to get that lurk entry as opposed to some of the larger maps like Bank, which have more entry points. But nonetheless, you combine that with the Solace and it will make the entry a little bit tougher, especially with pre-placed drones. Azami also off the board, and we would anticipate that trend to be consistent throughout this BO5.
Yeah, and obviously the fact that it is a best of 5, this is the first best of 5 I think we've had in the regional leagues. Korea's grand final, guys, was a best of 3. This one being a best of 5 does give them an extra chance to build some form going into Copenhagen Major, to be in this kind of scenario where you can get some extra maps under your belt against quality opposition. You know, we kind of talk about what is the importance of these games. You know, obviously at the end of the day though, it's a grand final. Who wants to finish first? Who wants to be the best? Scarz, they get the opportunity to go back to back, and you know, if they do win this tournament, they do win this league, you have to probably regard them as the best team from Japan. Northeption, they've had an amazing rise. Can they reach the summit though? Can they reach the top? Can they take down Scarz, win the Japan League, go to Phase 2? You do all of that, you probably have to label them the best team from the region at that point. I think you're almost inclined to.
10 seconds remaining.
Yes, it's pretty difficult to argue that.
5 seconds to go.
And then obviously it'll be intriguing to see how these teams will end up performing
Attackers
at
are
the major,
moving out to locate a bomb and defuse it.
as it will be such a big step up from what they are used to here locally within the Japanese system. Into round 1 then though, and it is a basement defense coming out first from Scarz, and they'll get the first pick, Fish-like, on the alibi, up above. That's the Yano of Nina taking care of the Danger Man. From yesterday, silenced very early on in the piece.
Obviously, Oregon was a very successful map for Northeption against CAG, hence why they picked it again. But it's a great start from Scarz. Northeption unable to even make their way in over towards Big Tower. Forever finally gets a kill over towards main entrance. But that is a very dominant start from Scarz straight away off the bat. It is Oregon though. Defense is always going to prevail, especially on sites just basement. The other 2 tertiary sites, though, of course, is where things will differ ever so slightly and give Northeption a look in. But this is the best start. Be aggressive. Be in their face. Make it difficult to enter site. Say, Jen, had an opportunity there. A little bit slow to react on the player. Pillar, Rack wins the battle in Freezer, and that's going to be the opening round. Sidechan backstairs by himself in a 1 versus 3.
Yeah, a lot of isolated 1v1s around the objective, and on that entry that Northeption are struggling to contend with. So some good aggression there early on from Scarz, some signs of confidence. And perhaps they don't necessarily back themselves as confidently in the late round here on Oregon with that structure in place. So they want to try to disrupt that. It has been one of Northeption's areas of strength in the late round, and often closing out rounds where they even have the disadvantage, for instance. So I like that approach from Scarz early on, and we'll see if that will be something they'll carry into the forthcoming rounds.
I mean, obviously a really good start on a site that you are expected to win. Now we go Kid Storm. Northeption going to have to be a little bit cleaner in their approach entering into site, but also Scarz will probably back off ever so slightly. Not going to be too forward aggressive in the second round. Good start though to a grand final for Scarz to just come out of the gate straight away and just basically swing the hammer into the face of Northeption and say, we're not here to mess around. We're here and we mean business to win back-to-back Japan Leagues.
Camera feed up and running.
Both teams, though, already going to the major. There will be one more team that goes, for those unaware. Last chance qualifiers for the Japan League. We'll send one more team through, and there's a lot of heavyweight names from the Japan region that will be battling it out there. Crest, Varel, Exist, CAG, Fnatic, Fav. I mean, basically, it's like the league. Round 2, Electric Boogaloo. Everyone else gets a second chance. Obviously, then you got the open call teams as well that are qualified in. Who knows? Could they make a dream run? That's the beauty of the new formats. Anyone can make it to the major.
Attackers have recovered their diffuser.
We'll watch Nino again early on in this round, shut down from a spawn peak in round 1, and will more than likely find himself in another early engagement. The Jaeger playing contact, both players low. I thought surely Rek would be able to win that one out. Both players survive. The grenade follow-up from Nina, and, well, that was not ideal.
Definitely not. I mean, Nina, so impactful yesterday. Basically the best player in the region yesterday with how strong he was in Northeption's success of making it to the grand final. Really led the way. And Sharif as well, and Bank in the second game of that series as well was incredible after a slow start on Villa.
Attackers recovered the bomb diffuser.
It's a slow start here on Oregon, and it is the map pick of Northeption. In fairness, they're attacking at the moment. First half probably doesn't have the biggest of expectations. Fishlike and Rek both very low. Fishlike finds the kill into Sharif. And they've still got a lot of big areas under control. Big towers still for Scarz along with Attic. This is going to be very, very tricky for Northeption to take this round. Down 2 players, down one of your hard breaches as well. An entry player like Nina. Basically, your 2 best players are off the board early with a minute 15 remaining. Just trying to clear out player inside of security. Ukiz a little bit slow here in reaction time. He's forced to drop and loses the fight. That is one you should not be losing. Scarz win out around the map.
Feels like we're just watching a very different Northeption to the last couple of outings. Struggling to win these duels. Scarz coming out of the gates in such a confident fashion, not afraid to take on these entry fraggers of Northeption who have been running riot against the likes of Cyclops and yesterday against Crest. Those 2 teams struggling to deal with Northeption in almost every facet. Early on in this game though, Scarz really turning up the heat.
Yeah, 2 rounds in, but it's yeah, a lot of pressure immediately applied onto Northeption. It's like they've just kind of slowly woken up. The good news for them, though, despite this being their map pick, I will say, is they're on the attack in the first half, right? So you can kind of be given a little bit of leeway, a little bit of breathing room early. You can lose the first couple of rounds, provided you at least get 2 rounds sort of at the back end of this half, wake up a little bit, get moving, get a bit of confidence, go to the second half on the defense. You can bring it back. You can obviously have yourself a good game, but they're going to have to do that sooner rather than later. And it's never ideal if you allow Scarz here to go around the world and find success on the 3 sites as we head over to kitchen and meeting. But it's also the rounds themselves have been so one-sided, right? I mean, it's another thing as well. If Northeption are losing these rounds, they're closed. You know, it's 2v2s or 1v1s or clutches and counter diffusers or anything along that margin. Instead, these have been absolute beatdowns to begin with. It's Scarz that are just decimating them early, picking them apart. A lot of 5v1s, and unfortunately for Northeption, just struggling to really getting a foothold inside of the map.
Rek again, aggro, bot main stairs. Saw him in his position last round and he took on Nina head to head. Well, he loses at that time though. Favor. Front door, DMR. And that's the kind of swift, methodical clear and entry that we would come to expect from Northeption. Rek not really standing a chance on that occasion. Again, keeping in mind that with that Solace now banned out, replays cameras should be significantly easier to establish and allow players like this through small tower to come into fruition early on into the piece. So Chan taking full advantage. Selma's on that wall directly into kitchen for this kitchen meeting attack. Presence up above as well from Nina. Mute in the closet though. Needs to be very careful as Sharif may look to pinch alongside that Lion. He'll push forward. Not contested through kids, so he'll probably like this position at the moment.
Yeah. I'm surprised this is given up kind of free, to be honest, although we're showing now bringing his attention over towards dorms. Sharif's going to catch him here. Sometimes that's all it takes, just a little bit of fortune in the timing and the positioning, and that's 2 opening kills in this round for Northeption. And that's why this first 2 rounds don't really matter too much. As soon as you get to this tertiary site, kitchen meeting, went out a couple of those trades up above on the vert, and that's it, round's over. GG, now it's 1-2, and Northeption are looking like they're finally woken up a little bit. Really, really solid round from the team as a whole, across the board. And it's Faber that will finish off Fishlike over towards security. So they're on the board, on their map pick of Oregon in the grand final. 1-2, not a bad scoreline up to 3 rounds. As long as they can replicate this, get to 2-4 at the half, they'll be all right.
It's been a bit of a strange old game so far, right? We've had 3 rounds, obviously, and each one has been incredibly lopsided to the eventual victor, and none of the rounds have really had the attacking team in a position to go for any real kind of execute. By the time we get to that point of the round, around that sort of mid to late portion, minute 30 minutes to go, the round is basically already dictated, and it's just a formality from that point onwards. So it's so difficult to get a read on these two teams. At the start, you start to get really concerned for North Epsilon because they're struggling on the entry. Then they show in that round to score, round 3, when a couple of players then activate, the rest can roll with that momentum, and the round was already over. So very strange, very, very strange at the moment. I expected, and I anticipate going forward, that it is going to tighten, especially towards that late round, and we'll see, hopefully, the better team when it comes to crunch time winning out these rounds.
10 seconds remaining.
Especially when we sort of cast our minds back to the last time these two teams played, guys. It was an 8-7 in the group stage. It was a very much back and forth, ultra competitive game. Both teams looked very much sort of on the same level. It was a fun one, and so far these 3 rounds have just been super one-sided. A lot of early deaths that are just not traded, and then eventually the team that's winning just snowballs out and it's into a very much unassailable lead. But the Vigil lurk over towards small tower from Wreck. Does this work? Does it catch North Epsilon off? It's a very, very extended lurk as well. We're a laundry supply site here on Oregon to lurk on the Vigil over towards small tower. Going to be a late flank. And then you've got Fish like above. So again, Scarz pretty much employing the same strategy as the opening round. Going aggressive, looking to just deny entry into the site, into the map itself, I should say, and just force North Epsilon to take these early contact fights.
Well, it feels a little bit more subdued this round, but there is still aggressive information gathering, disrupted now by the Dockerby. So we'll see if North Epsilon look to play off that. Big tower occupied, Washoy taken down. So again, it's another good response here from North Epsilon. They're not letting those first couple of rounds really get to them, and they're going to stick to their game plan of cutting down these roamers. Fish-like, Wreck, still on the prowl up above. They can disrupt meeting, for instance. Or they could fall back. It is very difficult, though, to win a basement XC 4v5, so someone needs to try and go for a play. Unfortunately, Wreck doesn't win out, and again, they'll basically confirm the round at the minute 20.
Yeah, I mean, and credit to North Epsilon here, because they've just taken the time to really deal with these roamers. They know they're around. I mean, they didn't even get Fishlike, who was also up above. So if you've got 3 roamers on the side of Scarz, yeah, obviously North Epsilon, they kind of got to do one of 2 things. Either just rush site, which is probably not ideal, or go for the roamers. And they've done a good job of clearing them out, playing and waiting and buying time. And eventually, as Scarz made their move, North Epsilon were ready for them. Minute left, 4 versus 3, though. Big pick onto Nina. At least to just make it not quite as overloaded on site when this push does come from North Epsilon. So good control over towards Laundry. No presence in Freezer because of Nina's death. Epsilon going to have to regain that position. A lot of the battle's still happening up above, and that's probably not going to go the way that North Epsilon would like. Scar's doing a good job of actually reapplying pressure up above, dropping Freezer. You've still got kind of Freezer control. So North Epsilon don't really have a whole lot. Instead, they're just going to kind of drop sight, play a bit of backstairs pillar and blue, and give up on Freezer and Laundry.
20 seconds then. North Epsilon, time now starts to become the fact that they need to be careful. Fish-like up close. Well, doesn't need to win the fight, but ultimately actually did need to, because North Epsilon will clean up just in time.
Yeah, too much peeking from Scarz on the defense there, right? You've got like a player over towards Elbow. Do you really have to peek that from Freezer? You can fall back. You got the rotate. The battles that are happening there as well are basically from the drop and from Pillar. So again, you can kind of just play a little bit more back on site. Laundry, just play the time. There's not a whole lot of it. You know, force, in that situation especially, force North Epsilon to get plant down. Because then it brings it from a 2 versus 1 to a 1 versus 1, right? Or even before that, from a 2 versus 3 to a 2 versus 2. So you can kind of take away their advantage if you just play the time a little bit better. And I think Scarz just maybe got that little bloodthirsty moment where they really wanted to start swinging everything because they felt that North Epsilon would press for time. But in the end, they kind of actually hindered themselves by doing that. So 2-2 now. And how quick things can change. 2-0 start, Scarz. Very clean, very flawless looking rounds. North Epsilon respond and respond in good fashion. That being, of course, our round that finally was kind of close. That did finally go down to the end. First one, Maybe more to come. We'll see. Up to Kid Storms we go, though, for the 5th round. And Northception, 2 rounds in a row. They win this. And suddenly, all the pressure on Scarz early here in Oregon. It's 3.5 on the attack of Oregon. Is really good.
Well, definitely been a couple of red flags in this game so far. Both teams racing for their spot in phase 2 of the major, sensing the importance of that advantage. Neither team playing particularly clean, and again, it's down to this entry so early on. Nina falls again, 1 to 4 rather, struggling to get his foot in the door. And for Scarz, an opportunity to now form a response. Northception now are the ones that need to make a play, and I think Sharif's pretty eager to try and clear Big Tower currently. Doing that solo, though, will be quite tricky. The rest of the team stacking outside that bedroom balcony position, and, well, they're just being torn to shreds.
It kind of just goes back then to the opening 3 rounds of this just sort of one-sidedness, unfortunately. Opportunity just gone begging there for Northception. You can kind of landed a couple of blows on the Scarz, right? Kind of got them stumbling in the last couple of rounds. Very much could have applied some decent pressure in this 5th round to get a 3rd overall round. Nice little drop shot from Ukiz. Now takes out default, trying to sneak his way up the hallway. Collecting one from Big Tower. 90 seconds left. So still a little bit of time. 2 versus 4. Not completely impossible. If Sayachan wins this battle in security, he's got to be wary that there is going to be one in security. Does win out. Keeps a decent chunk of his health intact as well. Minute 10 remaining in the 5th round and a 2 versus 3 now. From 2 versus 5. 2 big kills for Sayachan and Ukiz, but they are both wounded, both low on health. Still a Nitrocell available for Pion. Couple of Valk cams as well still in play. And those gas baits from Tayu, never mind!
Oh.
Shot through the floorboards and shot through the heart. It's a 2 versus 2. And Ukiz continues to make his way up White Stairs. Gets through to the barbed wire. Does this allow Sayachan to push forward now in towards Trophy? Got to watch that sightline though from Attic. Fishlike watching. Wants to just swing this from the shelf. Spots him! Oh, and a shot from Sayachan! The headshot onto Fishlike is godlike! They've slowly brought it back from a 2 versus 5 to a 2 versus 1. Pion with red pings and a Nitrocell to salvage this round for Scarz. Final Rotero is going out from Ukiz. Drones as well.
Oh, they did drone him!
There's no way. Surely they saw him. Surely they don't know. They've missed drone. That might cost them 7 seconds. He's about to walk him, and he's not going to know he's there. The missed drone is huge. Pion! It's a game of inches at times, Siege, and in this instance, it was the drone that misdroned the final member of Scarz. One little mistake costs Northception the round. They should have won after being down 2-5.
Both teams, they're really feeling the pressure. A great attempt there from Northception. We're yet to see one of these lopsided rounds be brought back in that fashion. Northception actually putting themselves in the driver's seat. But then they just don't check one corner of games. That one slight misdrone costs them the round. They had the Rotero as well that went deep, closer towards Kids and double window. Obviously that went past in spot. Yeah, and then the primary drone as well, obviously looking the wrong way, proving very costly. Credit there to the clutch. Very disciplined, very well played, patient. Good trigger discipline, and then a quick spray onto the second. It feels like there's an aura around this game at the moment, a bit of intensity for what is, I guess, I don't want to frame it as a glorified seeding game because I would argue that there is quite the difference between phase 2 and phase 1, but
5 seconds to insertion.
I mean, both teams are very much going in with the mindset that they want to win this and they want to be number 1 in the region.
Defuse a bomb. Defender exposed.
It's taken a little while, but yeah, those back and forth moments in these rounds have only started to pick up a little bit. Now rush attempts from Northception might get denied here. Earlier shot from Rack, and he's holding a pretty decent angle. Up close though, behind the shield. The blitz is shot. It was actually a 3-stack over towards blue that has been basically decimated here by Northception. 2 in elbow, 1 on blue. And Northception have still made it through regardless. Fishlike tries to just look over towards Laundry to see if anyone's pushing him behind there. Now over towards Big Tower they go. They lost the blitz, but they won the war. 2 in elbow, 1 on blue. And Northception have still made it through regardless. Fishlike tries to just look over towards Laundry to see if anyone's pushing him behind there. Now over towards Big Tower they go. They lost the blitz, but they won the war.
We are seeing some crazy stuff in this game so far. And keeping in mind that Japan is unique with the best of 5 final. So who knows how much more of this we have in store. Sayochan with the secondary hard breach attempting to open up electrical. Unfortunately though, it will be juggled by Pune with the electro claw from the Kagi down below. So Sharif will post himself over towards Big Tower. And it looks like we'll see, I think, one outside blue and perhaps, I mean, it might just be a full pincer. Get one Lorgy, one Freezer, try and time it on the push off the back of a Lion Scan as well. So there's options available here to North Epsilon, and that's the freedom that you earn when you have that advantage for the last half of the round.
Just over 90 seconds remaining. North Epsilon find themselves in a winnable position once again. Close out this half and to put themselves in a really solid position going into the second half. The drop down, Shoy stops it in Freezer, turns around, hits the head. That was a bit of help from Fishlike as well, and that will be North Epsilon's attack. Shut down. It started well with the blitz, pushed over towards blue, but in the end, when it came go time later in the round, they got met by a very strong defensive Scarz, who take a pretty decent lead going into the second half. Job done. They got the 4 on the defensive, I reckon. That's what you would expect. That's what you would hope. Now the pressure onto North Epsilon to do the same.
Yeah, and in what was quite a closely contested, high-octane first half, Scarz able to weather that storm, especially in that last round. Things did not look good for them at the start. The blue stack from the defense really struggling. And maybe with hindsight, North Epsilon, after the back of the 2K from the blitz, maybe would have preferred to have actually committed to that push, but I think they were just a little bit afraid of, you know, the retake potential, and they may have also known that the Warden was still up, and it would have been difficult to counter that with the blitz, for instance. So, look, I think both teams can take positives from that first half, but in terms of just the intensity, again, it's on another level, and you would expect that. 1 versus 2 in the league. Arguably the 2 best currently in the region on current form. Now we'll go back to placement for the first defensive effort here from North Epsilon. And they're going to go quite denial heavy inside of bunker. They've got Goya with the Vulcans, gas canisters favor, and Yuki's as well can look to frag out on that Warden.
Attackers drop the diffuser.
So as we start the second half of this opening map, best of 5 grand final, North Epsilon and Scarz. It was a bit of a one-sided beginning to this first half in the map, and both teams having some very lopsided results, but only just now we really starting to see both of them go toe-to-toe. Big extension here for North Epsilon on the roam. Players surrounding many different facets of this map, but it's not quite the same level that what we saw from Scarz in the first half when Laundry supplied. They were very aggressive on their roam, looking for kills early. Probably expecting the same, hence why they got a lot of pressure here over towards Big Tower.
Oh, the entry contested. Tayu lucky to survive. In that position now forfeited by Sayochan, who will drop to the bottom of the stairs here. Decent control for Scarz, but fine. Going past very, very quickly. Rack, currently inside of dining, contesting Yuki's, who needs to now be mindful of Big Tower. This isn't the most comfortable of positions to play. He needs to be mindful if he wants to recontest over towards dining, now also being aware of his backside. But Scarz failing to put meaningful pressure on him, at least initially. Now an engagement will ensue. Yuki's wasting quite a bit of time, gets a kill as well for his efforts, turns around. Well, that's a Gemini, so he'll survive and, well, able to just tuck away. I don't know how he hasn't died on that run. But for Scarz, what turned out to be an okay start is slowly unraveling.
Yeah, and I thought he would just make his way out from split, back down. But he just holds, and I think that's what Scarz thought as well. He hadn't got droned out till just then. Now he probably should look to leave, but he's already done so much damage in this round, it's probably hard to imagine. And they just keep thinking that he's going to just leave, and he just keeps swinging and peeking them one by one. 3 for 1, and make that 4 now, and that's round over. very reminiscent to what we saw in the first half from Scarz cards. Very, very similar.
Well, we saw, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we saw literally one legitimate execute in that first half, and even that was a pretty iffy 1v2 with the mist drone. Outside of that, every other round has been dictated in the mid round with roams and entries. It's been quite insane, and a very different brand to Siege to what we would expect previously. And even in this meta in other regions, you would anticipate a couple of kills through the mid round, but more often than not, it's at least a 3v3 or 4v4 execute on site. This had not been the case at all in this game. So good work from Scarz, good roam over towards meeting. I would still contest, pardon me, a good roam from Northeption. I would contest though that Scarz should have done a much better job in cutting it down. There were plenty of opportunities where Yuki's did run in to potential crossfires from dining, or even if they got some hatch control inside of attic, etc. from the side of the attack where he would have been in a lot of trouble, and they just struggled to read into his win condition there, which was to hang around and find picks. So a little bit disappointing there from Scarz, but I'll be looking to just check them.
It is the mapping of Northeption, so expectations for them now on the defense is very prevalent, and they've shown a good start. Begin this second half, 3-4 scoreline now. Early E1D from Pion, just to help a little bit with that entry, which has been a bit of a struggle for both of these two teams on the attack now of Oregon, with the defense being super aggressive. Into balcony, through bedroom they'll go. Here's Tayo. Amor goes down. Very much looking to put some pressure on above straight away towards that game's wall and look to open that one up.
Back with an entry over towards Armory as well. So Nina now needs to be mindful. He plays a critical position in this round, but will find himself under quite a bit of pressure in a moment. Thrown out, so position confirmed. And able to escape. So decent work there from the defense, but also credit to the attack and just applying enough pressure to make that position too hot to hold. Wreck now actually in engagement. So Shoe Reaper holding big tower. Long angle with the 9mm and rewarded.
Big fight to win, takes out one of the entry players for Scarz. A lot of focus over towards this balcony just outside game's wall, which has been breached now. Short down below, Tayo getting a good drone through trophy in towards site. Now Scarz with a bit of information at the very least they can maybe play off of. Just under a minute and a half remaining. 8th round, very pivotal one as well. Northeption looking to bring that scoreline back to an even margin. Group still maintaining full control of attic. That being a big win condition you would imagine for Northeption. Oh, that's a great swing from Fish like Nina. Too busy looking at the floor. Gets caught, loses that one. Smoke to deny, and he pushed through the bridge. Piona on big window now. And suddenly feels like Scarz have got themselves an entry into this round and the ability to win it from here.
Well, I was about to say, contesting shield will be tough. Pion might be the only one with gone 6, but he's double window, so he can't clear that hit position. So I thought that that would be almost a no-go zone for the attack, but clearly proven wrong there, as that frag brings it back to a 4 versus 4. But that shield position could be recontested. Sharif clearly looking sharp, so this is still going to be a tough execute.
Whoa, Fish like is in, taking a lot of damage, but taking that plant down. It's going to be denied though. Trades back from Scarz. Oh, they're perfect. 4 in 4 seconds for Scarz after losing their planter in Fish like. They respond with good cover from that game's position. And they take a big round up in kids' dorms and re-extend that lead to +2.
Well, with what was presented to them, Scarz, they're going for probably the best option in terms of plant position. It did force a lot of the strong site holds from Northeption to be conceded. Forced them into these pretty awkward swings into largely the unknown. And while the positions being held from Scarz on the cross weren't exactly completely unpredictable, they were still stronger than those positions forfeited by the defense. So good work there from Scarz. They identified that that was going to be a rough push if they wanted to contest that shield in pit, or even do a late rotation to double window, for instance. So they made the best call. Played it really efficiently. Nice couple of quick trades and picks. There's some good responsive siege there from Scarz. And we're actually going to see Northeption go to the tertiary site now. So Northeption at risk of forfeiting a map point here to Scarz, and they're actually going to head us to dining.
5 seconds remaining.
It's a risky position to be in. It is their map pick as well to begin. And one thing I mentioned as well when we were going through the map veto process in the pre-show discussion was Scarz have got the 2 maps that they wanted. Whereas Northampton, yes, they opened with Oregon, a map that they did really well against CIG, but their second map that they've actually done well on already in the group stage is actually the Decider map. It's a long way to get to that point. So basically after this, if you lose Oregon from here on out, you're basically playing against the clock. Scarz will have all the remaining maps that they'll be happy enough to take and put themselves in a position to win this grand final off. Win Oregon, you probably then expected to win your 2 map picks. How that does translate, if it does. Long way to go. This one's not over yet, though.
So it looks like Scar's leaning into the Ossa here for some small tower control, which is interesting. Stacking the doorway. Favor as well. Shotgun, so the M870 in hand over to its top small tower. That will probably be droned out. Yep, it will. So Scar's now need to make a decision as to whether or not they look to stack this position. Yeah, with that shotgun in hand, this is quite high risk.
Inside, second floor. Loading mag.
Let's go out from Ty, and Wreck will follow with the smoke. Oh, it just dashes through it, wanting to clear out this position. The small tower, 90 seconds left.
Swapping mag.
Yeah, though, doesn't move an inch. Still has a couple of ADSs with him as well. Good measure. There's one on the floor that can be shot out, but Wreck doesn't want to give away his position. Nina can't really help from this position, to be honest, on the dock. Taya takes some damage. There's the swing. Hello. But you got to do something at some point. Can't just sit there forever. And obviously, this is intriguing because Taya wants to swing, but he can't. There's the holes in the floorboards below. This extension, this position from Northampton has proved to be quite difficult for Scarz, but surely you just back out. Surely you just go a completely different avenue. Main entrance in through lobby and then towards kitchen. Maybe clear out the plane of security. I mean, that's hard though. You got the mirror. Nina finds the kill onto Fishlight. Scarz just don't know what to do.
Yeah, they really want to force that bandit at Yuki's out of position, but without Hyun finding kills elsewhere, there is no incentive for that Jaeger rather to move an inch. So Tayu can sit here as long as he wants. Favor, unless he gets really antsy, which he doesn't need to, there's no reason for him to peek. Well, he just spots for info, so a shoulder peek. And now he's just going to go for the pistol because he knows Northampton at this point. They've won the round. This hold has done absolute wonders. Now, there's the drop from Tayu, so it does get a little bit interesting. But well, it's a good response. Pyun, 5 seconds, pushes forward, deep in sight, gets 1. Second doesn't reveal itself in favor over towards small. He'll stay alive as well. So, and a good aggressive extension there from Northampton. The response from Scarz, though, lacking.
Yeah, I think they felt like they could really pressure the Jaeger up in small tower. And that was going to be their win condition. Get an easy kill there, pinch that player out first, and then start to think about sight. But then they failed to realize the floorboards opened up. Sight lines in dining meant that it wasn't going to be that easy. That player in small tower was actually quite protected by the player behind the mirror window, and really well played by Northampton. I don't think Scarz really understood their own win conditions there as to how they wanted to play that one. What they probably should have done instead, that was just all a little bit messy in that round. And that's exactly what Northampton needed, though. In fairness, they needed something to go back their way, win a round convincingly. Pretty much say to Scarz, this one's not over yet. This one's not a freebie. It's not a given. 4-5, and now they get to go to basement as well. So not impossible to think that they can tie this one up. 5-5, head back to Kids Dorms for a really, really crucial round.
5 seconds left. Attacker's objective is to locate a bomb and defuse it.
So a bit more of a traditional site than for round 10. But the way in which they have played out has been anything far from default. Again, often dictated by some of the really early phases and entries here. So we'll see again just how aggressive Northampton want to continue to be on the defense. Whether or not Scarz can match them with a response. So pre-play strains up above. So looking like a top-down clear here from Scarz, and with that blitz in hand, any roamers will need to be very, very careful. A stack at security top freezer is probably the only real roam presence that the attack will need to be mindful of. And with the likes of the Buck in play, that will probably not be the strongest of positions for Yuki's to hold.
Big round. Can Scarz find a way to get themselves in that match point scenario to steal this one? Nitrocell goes out very early from Sharif. Doesn't find what he was looking for. And this is going to be a very difficult position for Scarz to push through, though. Into freezer stairs, well defended Vulcan canister there, along with the ADSs. Sharif up close, but he doesn't have the Nitrocell anymore. At least one part of that arsenal has to be taken away. 90 seconds though. I'm definitely something that has to be considered here for Scarz. The other part of this as well is if you don't really put any pressure, well, they got the yellow ping and there's a player in security.
Oh,
well, maybe Wishoy didn't get said yellow ping. He just ran in like he didn't know. That's a little bit odd. And it gets pinged out and he just runs in, gun down. I need to kind of deal with this one. Oh, he got knifed! Well blinded, Sharif. Gets the kill, gets 2 for 1 over towards security, and puts Northeption into a really strong position going into the final minute of this round.
I'm surprised they didn't try and vert out the position a little bit more. Taking on Warden with Blitz is really not the best of ideas if Sharif was ready and waiting with that util. Nonetheless, Rek has actually snuck up through Freezer. Was reinforced off, so just gives him a little bit of a safe haven to play out of the pillar. Contested to the cross. Defense mindful of that. Sayo-chan will progress, and they're fully aware, but he's still, well, he still exposes that position, even though there was that gas canister deployed from Nina. So it's a 3v3, and this round still in the balance.
But anytime it gets to this kind of position, especially with one more gas babe available, you've got to back in Northeption here. Yuki is blinded by the lights, finds the kill anyway. Pion trades, picks up Diffuser. Not a whole lot of time here. Now in a 1 versus 2. Knows there's one player close and frees up at Nina. The ever formidable Nina with a big kill. Was expecting that swing, held it, and they had the cross as well covered from elbow. I mean, there was no way Pion was going to win that round. We go to 5-5. We go to kids' dorms. And one of these two will be getting match point at the conclusion of this round. 3 of the last 4 rounds now for Northeption. They have brought it back on their defense. They have looked strong. And we've kind of ended up with what we expected. A bit of back and forth between these two teams. Like their earlier meeting up in the group stages. 8-7 was that result. Scarz winning out. And of course, the other thing that probably hasn't been touched on, APAC SI close calls redemption does for Scarz wanting to get something back over Northeption after they took them down 2-0 and ended their run early for SI. So Scarz would want to probably get a little bit of revenge.
Definitely been very closely contested with both teams. Matching a similar energy level at the moment where it's a lot of aggression off site. Very few rounds going down to that execute. We've had probably 2, generously maybe 3 of the 10 so far go down to genuine execute. A lot of it has been taking place off site early in the round. Spearheaded by the likes of Pyun for Scarz. Yuki's as well, and some of the roams for Northeption. We'll see now how Scarz look to edge themselves into a match point position after giving Northeption a bit of a look in the last couple of rounds. Nina bot main. So aggressive towards this front door position. Can be a way to catch attackers off guard as they work their way to the balcony, for instance, where Washoy is currently repelled. But instead he'll fall back. Looks like Scarz now getting decent positions. As Tayu reconsiders his own position over towards small tower. Now Rek can drone up top white. And maybe Scarz will look to exploit. There's no one top white. They could quite literally jump in and try and connect this with a cross elsewhere, maybe like a kids repel or something. If they can get early ground here, top white is a good position to post up as the attack.
Scarz will probably get that information, I would imagine, off the back of this Gemini. There was an early nade. Nina with a good swing. In towards Battery, finds the kill to Fish like. Bit of a free one. He was just standing right on there. And that's diffused down as well. Don't imagine Northeption will do a whole lot to play off of that. I'm sure with the drone out to get a little bit of intel over towards Trophy. Pion's still very much outside. What is he doing? I mean, he's expecting... Oh, he's looking at that big tower window, which has already been shot through by Sharif at the 9mm.
Attackers have dropped the bomb diffuser.
I mean, mate, there's a minute left in the round. You've got to be doing a little bit more than just hanging around outside.
Attackers recovered the diffuser.
Got the diffuser at least back into their hands, but I just feel like Northeption once again in control here. They've got good vert as well established down below, along with on-site presence. They've still got Attic, which is firmly in control. Huge Gemma shield, ADSs. There's a lot of work for Scarz to get through, guys. I'm honestly, that white stairs position is all they've really got.
The attacker's bomb diffuser has been dropped.
They'll still fight tooth and nail though. This position for Breck critical. Washo's spotted one over towards that default plant position on that 2 ping. Doesn't really have the use to clear it, and the swing from Favor, it's perfect, but Northeption, they continue to fall. Scarz somehow trading out these fights. It's now Nina in the post. There's a player outside double.
Oh,
so he
Nina
gets the first. He can go for the res, but no, that player outside as he crosses able to just mop up.
Yeah, I mean, that is still a little bit concerning there for Northeption. I thought they had a lot still under lock. In the end, you kind of die to a double kill out big window. There's a bit of pressure. Top white stairs. Scarz in all their credit though, guys. Pion 14 and 4, just making plays as a team. Critical, key, very difficult plays. It's not like they had a whole lot of map control. It's not like they had attic control. They didn't really get the opportunity to sort of pinch on site besides white stairs and big window. They just were able to get some really good yellow pings out. Thought their drone work was really good in that round. A couple of solid yellow pings. They could get some kills off of that. Got them back into the round. And basically, on kids' dorms, if it's a 3v3, if it's a 4v4, and it just turns into a bit of a gunfest, I mean, you kind of don't mind that position for an attacking team. And Scarz proved that. And now they're 1 round away from stealing this map pick of Northeption, the same map that they took down CAG 7-1.
Yes. Turning out to be a funny old series already, and it's only 1 map of a potential 5.
Defuse a bomb.
Still a long way to go in this one as we ease ourselves. I was going to say ease ourselves into this series, but it kind of feels like we're going full throttles at the very beginning. Which is rarely the case. Often teams are trying to get their footing in a series like this and play into it gradually. Certainly not the case between these two. Sensing every round is critically important, which is a great attitude to have for us as it keeps it nice and entertaining. Meeting hold here, meeting dining for Northeption. We're going to push this game to overtime. Scarz will really want this map win. Heading into Clubhouse for map 2, where they beat Northeption in the group stage, will, I think, bode well for them. And opens up a window of opportunity, albeit maybe not the biggest of windows. It's a potential 2-0 lead in the best of 5, and we have seen comebacks, 0-2 comebacks in best of 5s in the history of Siege, but easier said than done. Good drones in sight for Scarz early on in the piece. Washo can pull this out to the rest of the team. Scarz just lurking around the map, seeing if maybe they can find a critical first pick. Oh, wreck over towards security. So in bottom of screen. Don't know if the observer caught it, but here we go, wreck. Sitting and waiting in that Z position.
90 seconds left. Critical round here. Northeption maybe feeling like they've got to be the ones to land a bit of a first blow here. Wreck, though, with the roam in towards Kitchen now. And he's gotten some decent sight lines. UQ's above, though, has the better of the 2 sight lines. You can watch that doorway for any one that feels like this is just being left open. It's that little trap game, isn't it? You kind of lull the attacking team into this false sense of security where it's like, hey, guys, they've left the back of Kitchen open. It is being watched. But if you can clear kids' dorms... Well, Rex actually still walked in. So much for watching it. Has he just timed him up above? I think he might have. He might even get the kill, and he does. Oh. Rex just waltzes in. Oh, the trap has been sprung well and truly here by Scarz. Oh, but Feather responds. Oh! 2, make it 3, and defuse it down. The drop, though, perfect for Pion. Oh, he saves the day. With a bit of help from Tayu. They take the map of Oregon. They steal it away from Northampton. Scarz 1-0 up in the grand final.
Oh,
What a round.
excitement levels off the chart already, and it's one map in a best of 5. The first map, and it's already kicking off with a bang. Scarz stepping up huge there. Northampton almost able to bring it back. Great effort there from Favor, but it wasn't quite enough. 7-5 victory to Scarz. And heading into Clubhouse, I mean, if they bring that same level and they